Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shiva Swati Gaur Bhaktavindam Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnupad Padamansa Pariprajaka Stotra Sri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kundi Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Brinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Welcome everybody to Chaitanya Caritamrita reading with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Thursday, February 5th, 2026. We are beginning with Chaitanya Caritamrita, Madhya 135. Is that correct? Somewhere, did we leave off in the middle of 35 or did we complete it?
No, we're in 39.
Oh.
In the midst of the purport to 39.
Oh, okay. I must have had some issue of reading a 5 for a 9.
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is 39. Dharmo Hyatrartha Kamocha Prajanandomritam Yashaha Loka Ishoka Viraja Yanna Kevalino Viduhu. The woman continued, in this material world, a householder's life brings all kinds of happiness in religion, economic development, sense gratification, and the begetting of children, sons and grandsons. After that, one may desire liberation as well as material reputation. The householder can appreciate the results of sacrifices, which enable him to gain promotion to superior planetary systems.
Guru Maharaj, is that from Srimad Bhagavatam? Or
Yes.
okay, are we doing Caitanya Caritamrita today, or?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah, I'm a day ahead of you anyway. It's Friday here when we don't have a class. But sorry, that's why I'm way off. All right, let's shift gears. Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we're in, tell me the verse again, 135. And again, we are in the midst of a purport, right?
Well, I'm not sure. That's what I thought I had remembered.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Hari Bhakti Vilas are Bhagavatamrita, Dashama Tipini are Dashama Chorita. This is a description of the books compiled by Srila Sanatana Goswami, And we're in the midst of a discussion of Hari Bhakti Vilas and its contents. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shamantina Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachate Shatana. In the 9th Vilas, there are descriptions about collecting tulsi leaves, offering oblations to forefathers according to Vaishnava rituals, and offering food. In the 10th Vilas, there are descriptions of the devotees of the Lord, Vaishnavas, or saintly persons. In the 11th Vilas, there are elaborate descriptions of deity worship and the glories of the holy name of the Lord. One is instructed on how to chant the holy name of the deity, and there are discussions about offenses committed while chanting the holy name, along with methods for getting relief from such offenses. There are also descriptions of the glories of devotional service and the surrendering process. In the 12th Vilas, Ekadashi is described. In the 13th Vilas, fasting is discussed, as well as observance of the Mahadvadashi ceremony. In the 14th Vilas, different duties for different months are outlined. In the 15th Vilas, there are instructions on how to observe Ekadasi fasting without even drinking water. There are also descriptions of branding the body with the symbols of Vishnu, discussions of Chaturmasya observations during the rainy season, and discussions of Janmashtami, Parshvaikadashi, Shravanadwadashi, Ram Navami, and Vijaya Dashami. The 16th Vilas discusses duties to be observed in the month of Kartik, October-November, or the Damodar month, or Urja, when lamps are offered in the deity room or above the temple. There are also descriptions of the Govardhan Puja and Ratha Yatra. The 17th Vilas discusses preparations for deity worship, Maha Mantra chanting, and the process of japa. In the 18th Vilas, the different forms of Sri Vishnu are described. The 19th Vilas discusses the establishment of the deity and the rituals observed in bathing the deity before installation. The 20th Vilas discusses the construction of temples, referring to those constructed by the great devotees. The details of the Hari Bhakti Vilas Grantha are given by Sri Kaviraj Goswami in the Madhya Lila 24, verses 329 through 345. The descriptions given in those verses by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami are actually a description of those portions compiled by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. According to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the regulative principles of devotional service compiled by Gopal Bhatta Goswami do not strictly follow our Vaishnava principles. Actually, Gopal Bhatta Goswami collected only a summary of the elaborate descriptions of Vaishnava regulative principles from the Hari Bhakti Vilas. It is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami's opinion, however, that to follow the Hari Bhakti Vilas strictly is to actually follow the Vaishnava rituals in perfect order. He claims that the Smarta Samaj, which is strictly followed by caste brahmanas, has influenced portions that Gopal Bhatta Goswami collected from the original Hari Bhakti Vilas. It is therefore very difficult to find out Vaishnava directions from the book of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. It is better to consult the commentary made by Sanatana Goswami himself for the Hari Bhakti Vilas under the name of Digdarshani Tika. Some say that the same commentary was compiled by Gopinath Puja Adhikari, who was engaged in the service of Sri Radha Ramanji, and who happened to be one of the disciples of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So there are some differences of opinion regarding the Hari Bhakti Vilas. First of all, there's a difference of opinion about, or differences of opinion concerning the authorship of the book itself. Here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directs Sanatana Goswami what to put in Hari Bhakti Vilas, but the Hari Bhakti Vilas never clearly comes out and says who the author is. So some say Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Certainly, if you go to the Radha Raman temple, they'll tell you that the author is, without a doubt, Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Others will say, without a doubt, Sanatana Goswami. Others will say that Sanatana Goswami wrote it, but then published it under Gopal Bhatta's name, or that one edited the other. There are different opinions, and it's difficult to discern sometimes, or it is difficult to discern for sure the authorship of the book. Then there's this additional issue that it appears to that some influence is there within the Hari Bhakti Vilas of the Smartas, those the strict followers of Vedic rituals. Gopal Bhatta Goswami hailed from South India, where these considerations are very strong. And one might suggest that one of the aims of Hari Bhakti Vilas was to establish that, yes, the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya is bona fide, we follow all the rituals, or if you're a follower of all the rituals, then if you join the Gaudiya Sampradaya, you don't have to throw everything out. Here's how the rituals are performed within our Sampradaya. So, but in either case, this would involve rituals that might not be very important for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, but which are treated in the Hari Bhakti Vilas for the benefit of those who are very much concerned with such rituals. In any case, finally, Srila Saraswati Thakur, one more thing is that I was having some discussion with Gopinath Acharya Das, my grand disciple, who's a learned professor at Oxford and such texts. And he says that Hari Bhakti Vilas compiles quite a lot of evidence from Shastra, so that if you just read through Hari Bhakti Vilas, you'll see all sorts of different opinions. Under any different category, there might be something from this Purana and something from that Purana, something from this Tantra, something from this Samhita. And so one might not be certain. Just if we quote, this is from Hari Bhakti Vilas, yes, but does that mean that it's conclusive for the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? It may or may not be. One has to read through the whole discussion on that topic and see at the end whether there's some conclusion is given. With all of this, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur suggests that it's better to consult Sanatana Goswami's Tika, the Digdarshani Tika, the commentary that gives the direction, Digdarshani, that helps one see the direction. That commentary is confidently ascribed to Srila Sanatana Goswami. All right. Any questions or comments so far? Yes, there is one.
Yes, Saraswati Mataji writes, Pranams Param Puja Gurudev and all the Vaishnavas. I seem to recall reading in Caitanya Caritamrita that Sri Gopala Bhatt Goswami was reluctant to be in the spotlight and preferred not to even have his name mentioned much in Caitanya Caritamrita.
Yes, I think that was Gopal Bhatt Goswami. Therefore, only in a few places has he been cautiously mentioned. Anything else? Okay. Regarding the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, there are two parts, both of which deal with the discharge of devotional service. The first part is an analytical study of devotional service, in which there's also a description of different planets, including the Earth, the heavenly planets, Brahmaloka, and Vaikuntha-loka. There are also descriptions of the devotees, including intimate devotees, most intimate devotees, and complete devotees. The second part describes the glories of the spiritual world, known as Goloka Mahatmya Nirupana, as well as the process of renunciation of the material world. I just have to make a note here. Nirupana means description, as far as I know. So it's not that the glories of the spiritual world, it's the second part that's known as Nirupana. Take it. Okay. So the glories of the spiritual world and the process of renunciation of the material world. It also describes real knowledge, devotional service, the spiritual world, love of Godhead, attainment of life's destination, and the bliss of the world. In this way, there are 7 chapters in each part, 14 chapters in all. So it's wonderful that since Srila Prabhupada's departure, after Prabhupada's departure, Gopi Pranadhana Prabhu gave us Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita in English translation, along with a purports giving the commentary of Srila Sanatana Goswami, or purports following the commentary of Srila Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami wrote an auto-commentary, a commentary by the author himself. And those who read this presentation of Brihad Bhagavatamrita will certainly find great nectar there. It's just it's just wonderful. Devotees can relish transcendental ecstasy and also get very extensive knowledge of the science of Krishna consciousness from this Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So those who haven't read it are in for a treat. Brihad Bhagavatamrita is Amrita. And we see the brilliance of Sanatana Goswami and how he so wonderfully presents things. I think before Brihad Bhagavatamrita came out, we knew that Sanatana Goswami was the most senior of the Goswamis, and we knew about his humility and his austerity. We knew about his meeting with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but we hadn't been exposed to his writings. But now that Brihad Bhagavatamrita has been published, we can get an appreciation of the brilliance of Srila Sanatana Goswami, the depth of his devotional contribution. The Dashama Dipani is a commentary on the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Another name for this commentary is Brihad Vaishnava Toshani Tika. In the Bhakti Ratnakara, it is said that the Dashama Dipani was finished in 1476 Shakabda, AD 1554. Okay. Eshab Granta Koilo Goshai Sanatan Rupa Goshai Koilo Yata Ke Kuru Ganan. We've already given the names of 4 books compiled by Sanatana Goswami. Similarly, Srila Rupa Goswami has also compiled many books which no one can even count. Pradhan Kichu Koriye Gonon Loksha Grante Koilo Braja Bilas Bornon. I shall therefore enumerate the chief books compiled by Srila Rupa Goswami. He has described the pastimes of Vrindavan in 100,000 verses. The Kaviraj Goswami says, Pradhan. Pradhan means foremost. So I'll only describe the foremost of the foremost, because there are so many books compiled by Sri Rupa Goswami. Rashamrita Sindhu are Bidogda Madhab. Ujjwal Nilamani are Lolita Madhab. The books compiled by Sri Rupa Goswami include the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Vidagdha Madhava, Ujjvala Nilamani, and Lalita Madhava. Dan Keli Kaumudi are Bahu Stavavali, Ashtadashalila Chanda are Padyavali, Govinda Virudhavali, Tahar Lokhan, Mathura Mahatmya are Nataka Bornam. Srila Rupa Goswami also compiled the Dan Keli Kaumudi, Stavavali, Leelach Chanda, Padyavali, Govinda Virudhavali, Mathura Mahatmya, and Nataka Varnam. Laghu Bhagavatamritadi Ke Kuru Ganan, Sarvatra Korila Braj Vilas Varnam. Who can count the rest of the books headed by the Laghu Bhagavatamrita, written by Srila Rupa Goswami? He has described the pastimes of Vrindavan in all of them. This Laghu Bhagavatamrita also is now been was translated by Gopi Pranadhana Prabhu and published by the BBT. Let's see. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati has given a description of these books. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is a great book of instruction on how to develop devotional service to Lord Krishna and follow the transcendental process. It was finished in the year 1463, Shakabda, AD 1541. This book is divided into 4 parts: Purva Vibhag, Eastern Division; Dakshina Vibhag, Southern Division; Paschima Vibhag, Western Division; and Uttara Vibhag, Northern Division. In the Purva Vibhag, there's a description of the permanent development of devotional service, the general principles of devotional service, the execution of devotional service, the ecstasy in devotional service, and ultimately the attainment of love of Godhead are described. In this way, there are 4 laharis, waves, in this division of the ocean of the nectar of devotion. In the Dakshina Vibhag, Southern Division, there's a general description of the mellow relationship called Bhakti Ras, which is derived from devotional service. There are also descriptions of the stages known as Vibhav, Anubhav, Satvik, Vyabhichari, and Sthayi Bhav, all on this high platform of devotional service. Thus, there are 5 waves in the Dakshina Vibhag division. Would someone like to read a little bit?
Saraswati Mataji, are you available?
Yes, just a second. In the Western Division, Bhajismi Vibhag, there is a description of the chief transcendental humors derived from devotional service. These are known as Mukhya Bhakti Rasa Nirupana, or attainment of the chief humors or feelings in the execution of devotional service. In that part, there is a description of devotional service and neutrality, further development in love and affection called servitude, further development in fraternity, further development in parenthood or parental love, finally, conjugal love between Krishna and his devotees. Thus, there are 5 waves in the Western division. In the Northern division, Uttar Vibhag, there is a description of the indirect mellows of devotional service, namely devotional service in laughter, devotional service in wonder, and devotional service in chivalry, pity, anger, dread, and ghastliness. There are also mixing of mellows and the transgression of different humors. Thus, there are 9 waves in this part. This is but a brief outline of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The Vidag.
Yes. Stop there.
Thank you.
Of course, this was an early book that Srila Prabhupada translated. Not so early, but especially when he wanted to establish the deity worship and really move the Krishna consciousness movement forward. He gave a summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the nectar of devotion, which provides so much of a foundation for our devotional practice and devotional understanding. I can mention also that His Holiness Dhanurdhar Swami has written a guidebook, or a commentary really, on the nectar of devotion called Waves of Devotion, which clarifies or expands upon and clarifies much of the material that we find in the nectar of devotion. There are some points in nectar of devotion that are difficult to follow without further guidance. And there are points that we can understand more deeply with reference to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu itself. So, for those who wish to study nectar of devotion deeply, I would recommend Waves of Devotion as an essential reference. Actually, for anyone who's seriously studying nectar of devotion, I would recommend Waves of Devotion, because it is an excellent guide for understanding nectar of devotion, resolving possible contradictions that might come into our view. Everything is presented very nicely there. From what I understand, also, there's a translation of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that the BBT is working on publishing. I don't know if that's Banu Maharaj's translation, a different one. I think Banu Maharaj. Anyway, it's being prepared by the BBT for publication, and that will be a further asset for us. Any questions here? Okay. Would you like to read more?
Well, it's nice to see Gandhara Das Prabhuji. Thank you so much. The Vidagdha Madhava is a drama of Lord Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. Srila Rupa Goswami finished this book in the year 1454 Sakabda, AD 1532. The first part of this drama is called Venu Narda Vilasa, the second part Manmat Lekha, the third part Radha Sangha, the fourth part Venu Harana, the fifth part Radha Prasadana, the sixth part Sharad Vihar, and the seventh and last part Gauri Vihara. There is also a book called Ujjwal Nilmani, a transcendental account of loving affairs that includes metaphor, analogy, and higher bhakti sentiments. Devotional service in conjugal love is described briefly in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but it is very elaborately discussed in the Ujjvala Nilmani. This book describes different types of lovers, their assistants, and those who are very dear to Krishna. There is also a description of Srimati Radharani and other female lovers, as well as various group leaders, messengers, and the constant associates, as well as others who are very dear to Krishna, are all described. The book also relates how love of Krishna is awakened and describes the ecstatic situation, the devotional situation, permanent ecstasy, disturbed ecstasy, steady ecstasy, different positions of different dresses, feelings of separation, prior attraction, anger in attraction, varieties of loving affairs, separation from the beloved, meeting with the beloved, and both direct and indirect enjoyment between the lover and the beloved. All this has been very elaborately described. Any comments, Guru Maharaj?
Except that these are all high topics, as Prabhupada indicates. There's a book compiled from talks by Srila B.R. Sridhar Maharaj called Follow the Angels, where he describes the contents of Ujjvala Nilamani as and then in outline. And then he says, as far as I've heard, he said, I haven't actually read the book. These are high topics, not meant for everyone. Yes, continue.
Similarly, the Lalita Madhava is a description of Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka. These pastimes were made into a drama, and the work was finished in the year 1459 Sakapta. The first part deals with festivities in the evening, the second with the killing of Sankachuda, the third with maddened Srimati Radharani, the fourth with Radharani's proceeding toward Krishna, the fifth with the achievement of Chandravali, the sixth with the achievement of Lalita, the seventh with the meeting in Nav Vrindavan, the eighth with the enjoyment in Nav Vrindavan, the ninth with looking over pictures, and the 10th with complete satisfaction of the mind. Thus, the entire drama is divided into 10 parts.
Later in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we'll hear that Rupa Goswami had in mind to write one drama, but then he was advised by Satyabhama, isn't it? I think so. That no, you should divide it into two, which is what he did. Yes, carry on.
The Laghu Bhagavatamrita is divided into two parts. The first is called the Nectar of Krishna, and the second the Nectar of Devotional Service. The importance of Vedic evidence is stressed in the first part, and this is followed by a description of the original form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Sri Krishna, and the descriptions of his pastimes and expansions in Swamsa, personal forms, and Vipi Ansha. According to different absorption.
As a quick note, personal forms here is not in contrast to impersonal, but these are his own forms, swa amsa, his, as Prabhupada would say, plenary forms, as distinct from vibhinamsha, which are the Prabhupada calls separated portions. Vibhinna means separated. Separated portions, the living entities. Okay.
So Guru Maharaj, the Svamsha, these are all Vishnu Tattvas, and the Vibhin Ansha, this is the Jiva Tattvas.
Yes.
Thank you. According to different absorptions, the incarnations are called Avesha and Tad Ekatma. The first incarnation is divided into 3 Purush avatars, namely Mahavishnu, Garbhadakshaya Vishnu, and Shiradakshaya Vishnu. Then there are 3 incarnations of the modes of nature, namely Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, Shiva. All the paraphernalia used in the service of the Lord is transcendental, beyond the 3 qualities of this material world. There is also a description of 25 Lila avatars, namely Chatusana, the Kumaras, Narada, Varha, Matsya, Yagna, Narnarayan, Rishi, Kapila, Datraya, Hayagriva, Hansha, Prishangarba, Rishab, Prithu, Narsingha, Kurma, Dhanvantri, Mohini, Vaman, Parshuram, Dasharatha, Krishna Dvapayan, Balaram, Vasudev, Buddha, and Kalki. There are also 14 incarnations of Manu: Yagna, Vibhu, Satyashena, Hari, Vaikunta, Ajit, Vaman, Sarvabhauma, Rishabha, Vishvakshena, Dharma Setu, Sudhama, Yogeshwara, and Bridbanu. There are also 4 incarnations for the 4 yugas, and their colors are described as white, red, blackish, and black, sometimes yellow, as in the case of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are different types of millenniums and incarnations for those millenniums. The categories called Avesha, Prabhava, Vaibhav, and Para constitute different situations for the different incarnations. According to specific pastimes, the names are spiritually empowered. There are also descriptions of the difference between the powerful and the power and the inconceivable activities of the Supreme Lord. Any comments, Guru Maharaj?
Yes, there are different categories of avatars. Lila avatars, Purusha avatars, Manvantara avatars, Guna avatars, Shakti Avesh avatars. I think that covers the categories. I may have missed one. Yuga avatars. So these incarnations are described according to their categories in Lagu Bhagavatamrita. Yes. Carry on.
We have things in the chat. Gokula Matsji writes, yes, these are very high topics. That seems to go over my head. Should I feel bad about this, Maharaj?
No, we should feel good about that. If we think that we're that everything is within our reach, then we're probably not doing very well in Krishna consciousness. Sanatana Goswami taught abject humility. So it's all right for the devotee to feel that some topics are over my head. Says Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Pujala Raghupati, Gaurava. He taught that we should worship these things as from the lower position, not that we should try to catapult ourselves into the midst of higher understandings without first having gone through the preliminary topics for understanding the science of Krishna. He said, we'll take the lower position and keep these things above our heads. We'll keep these things above our heads. And if some mercy descends on us, we'll be grateful. but we won't think that we're the most qualified to relish everything about conjugal love of Krishna. These are worshipable topics, and we may not consider ourselves fit to enter into these topics in our present stage. There's no need to feel bad about that. It's appropriate for us.
Praveen Prabhu writes, is there a connection with the Brihad and the Lagu Bhagavatamrita?
I haven't seen a direct connection or anything mentioned about that. Presumably, the two authors were brothers, so there's that connection, and we have to assume that each was aware of the work of the other, and so they were accordingly named Brihad and Laghu. The two terms are relative to one another, but as far as some sort of some other relationship between the two texts, I haven't seen any mention.
We have another thing in the chat. Praveen Prabhu writes, if I remember correctly, these descriptions of the avatars were taught to Sanatana Goswami by Lord Caitanya, but it seems Rupa Goswami has written about the avatars' descriptions.
Yes, they can both write about these things. If the description was, of course, the question is, if Sanatana Goswami was taught about it, why didn't he write about it? Why did Rupa Goswami? But both of them can contribute to these topics.
Praveen Prabhu writes,
Matala Harijana Bishoy Range, Pujala Ragapota, Gaurabapange. The servants of Hari are engaged in lavish affairs, handling material wealth and engaging all matters of things in the Lord's service. They worship the path of spontaneous devotion with Gaurabhapange, a mood of awe and reverence. And to show that the Ragapata is above all, above our heads, they remain servants, a little distant and below, praying for that of a servant's duty, not that of a confidential nature. Not to bring that highest divine love down here, but to hold that upon their heads. That's Srila B.R. Sridhar Maharaj. Yes.
Should I
Continue?
Yes. Sri Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, and no one is greater than him. He is the source of all incarnations. In the Lagu Bhagavatamrita, there are descriptions of his partial incarnations, a description of the impersonal Brahma effulgence, actually the bodily effulgence of Sri Krishna, the super excellence of Sri Krishna's pastimes as an ordinary human being with two hands, and so forth. There is nothing to compare with the two-armed form of the Lord. In the spiritual world, Vaikunta Jagat, there is no distinction between the owner of the body and the body itself. In the material world, the owner of the body is called the soul, and the body is called a material manifestation. In the Vaikunta world, there is no such distinction. Lord Sri Krishna is unborn, and his appearance as an incarnation is perpetual. Krishna's pastimes are divided into two parts, manifest and unmanifest. For example, when Krishna takes his birth within this material world, his pastimes are considered to be manifest. However, when he disappears, one should not think that he is finished, for his pastimes are going on in an unmanifest form. Varieties of humors however, are enjoyed by the devotees and Lord Krishna during his manifest pastimes. After all, his pastimes in Mathura, Vrindavan and Dwarka are eternal and are going on perpetually somewhere in some part of the universe. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, these are prakat and aprakat, manifest and unmanifest pastimes. When they're displayed in the material world, they're called manifest, and otherwise they're unmanifest. Any other questions?
So, Guru Maharaj, in the apragat, the unmanifest form, that means that the conditional soul cannot see the pastimes, but pure devotees can see those pastimes. Like, for instance, like even now in Vrindavan or Mathura, the advanced devotees, pure devotees can see those pastimes. Is that true?
Yes, unmanifest doesn't mean totally inaccessible, but accessible only to those who have eyes of devotional service. Premanjanachurita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokanti. The pure devotees can see all these things within their purified hearts. But when Krishna was manifest, then everyone could see. They might not understand. Kamsa could see, but not understand. But he could see. Now Krishna's appeared. Now Krishna's killed Keshi. Krishna's killed so many other demons I've sent. So everything was manifest. But still, Krishna is always manifest in the heart of the pure devotee.
So, Guru Maharaj, even when that advanced devotee is not in Vrindavan or Mathura, but in his heart, he carries this. So, is he still seeing the pastimes even when Krishna is not present, even though he's not physically in Vrindavan?
Yes. Devotees can see, are not restricted by boundaries of time and space. They can see things always.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Even we find that they can enter into these pastimes. That we find. But that's another discussion. Okay.
So it's 5 minutes to the hour. Should we go on or time for kirtan?
We can stop here and have kirtan.
Venkatesh Prabhu, are you available?
Okay. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shuddhavadi Asatya Nishatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vedanta Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Ashtotar Sri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath, Sham Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navdeep Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Go Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami Ki Jai.
Hi.
To the Prabhupada Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. To the Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Go Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.